What's up, everybody? Brett Mix here, Macho Wrestling 101. Hit like and subscribe if you like my content. We're here tonight for the SmackDown review. It's the go-home show to Survivor Series War Games tomorrow night from Chicago. This SmackDown takes place also in Chicago. They got the War Games cage above the ring showing us all what's going to happen tomorrow night. When there's two War Games matches, one from Raw, one from SmackDown. They open the show with a video package of last week. With the Damage Control the last 2 weeks, the situation with Damage Control and the Faces. We'll have tag titles on the line tonight, and Kevin Owens is on the Grayson Waller show on this Thanksgiving episode special. They advertised those two things. I rated SmackDown last week for some reference a 5 out of 10. The week before that, I rated it a 3.5 out of 10 for reference. We'll see what this week has in store for us. We start out in SmackDown again with the package of Charlotte, Asuka's heel turn, and then Charlotte and Becky, and if they can trust each other. We open with Becky Lynch's music, a Raw superstar leading the ladies to the ring. How nice. Corey Graves is back on commentary for the first time in 3 weeks, as he's running on no sleep and all adrenaline, being a dad and all. A new dad, so congratulations to Corey Graves. That's all good and well. We hope everything's good there. Fans are loud with Becky chant to start the show. Lynch says the mom has come around to SmackDown. Lynch says nowhere better than Chicago. She's always got to do the cheap pop. She's the new Mick Foley, it seems like lately. Each lady gets her turn to speak on the microphone. Charlotte will always get a reaction as long as people love to woo. As long as they woo, she'll always get a reaction. It'll always happen. And then Shotzi has her turn to talk, and she's having a seizure. She's so excited, and Charlotte then goes, yeah, what Shotzi said, for comic relief. I'm not sure if I like this character of Shotzi Blackheart's. At least it's different, and I guess it kind of touches in the old school. It's some personality, so I can't complain too much, because that's exactly what I want out of wrestlers. But I'm not sure if this particular character sits well with me. That's the only thing about that. Bayley interrupts and she's alone, so I was thinking the Damage Control was maybe going to jump from behind, but Bayley stirs shit up for each lady. She talks about how Becky can't trust Charlotte and how she talked behind her back when she used to talk to her. Then they talk about gossiping. Bayley says War Games is one of the most brutal matches of all time. Becky says she came looking for a fight. She used the same line like a week and a half ago on Raw, and it's the same line that her husband Rollins also used. They decided it will be 2-on-2 later tonight. Charlotte and Becky against two of Damage Control. Bayley does no problem with that. So that's what sets up the main event for tonight on SmackDown. Now Rhea Ripley comes to SmackDown, managing the Undisputed Tag Team Champions. Lashley's Street Profits face off with them to open up SmackDown. Like the fact they went to commercial before this one started. I did like that originally, but what happened was this. Although these commercials are abnormally longer for Raw or for SmackDown this week, as I wrote my notes, as I write this, it's been almost 5 full minutes since the show was on. It makes me wonder if they had technical difficulties, and I was right. Not sure if it happened in the States, but on Sportsnet here in Canada, it cut out of SmackDown when a backstage segment occurred. Then the entire first portion of this tag title match was cut off. So they ran commercials for at least 5 to 6 minutes. I'm not sure if it was like that in the States on FX1 or Fox or whatever you guys watch it on, but on Sportsnet, they cut to commercials. They were airing all sorts of commercials, and then the feed cuts right back in, and it's right before they go to commercial. So we get a feed, we get the Street Profits versus the Judgment Day, and it's like 10 seconds before they cut to their first commercial break of the match. So I didn't get to see the first half, meaning I'm not going to rate this match because it's unfair. I didn't see the first half. I'm sure you guys will be able to live without a star rating for one match from me. But I still will talk about the entire rest of the match. There was some great offense from Angelo Dawkins in this one. He impressed me. He had some great offense to Damian Priest, then Balor. Montez Ford hit a flying neck breaker, and then a blockbuster. Close near fall. Ford goes for a flying slam, but misses Balor, who hits a sling blade in a counter move. The Judgment Day with a leg double drop team move. Ripley distracted the officials, and Priest capitalizes with a modified tombstone slam, and then Finn Balor hits the coup de grace with the assist to Rhea at a TV time at about 10 minutes as the Judgment Day retained the titles. Again, no rating from what I saw, but it looked like about a 2-star, 3/4 to 3-star tag match. That's what it looked like. The Street Profits have come a long way, and they were the faces in the match, even though both teams were heels, as the Judgment Day is going to be cheered upon almost every time. Next, the ladies argue Charlotte and Becky show that they may not be able to coexist. Two giant egos going at it. Becky wonders why Charlotte is doing things that only the Mon could do, and the Mon is wondering why. All we know is that Bayley and Asuka are going to take on Charlotte and Becky tonight, but will they be able to coexist? It's that old cliched storyline that Vince loves to do. Will these guys coexist? LA Knight has the crowd in the palm of his hands in the next segment. It's time for the Grayson Waller effect with Kevin Owens. Instead of Owens, it's Austin Theory in a blue KO shirt, while the fans boo loudly until Owens' music hits again, and this time it's the real Owens, as Cole tells us. Thanks for that, Michael Cole. Owens asks what's going on the microphone right away. He says his suspension is over, as Grayson Waller asked, "What, aren't you suspended?" And Theory and Kevin Owens says his suspension is over. It's ended tonight. So this is why he thought he wanted him to be on the show. They thought they were going to eat catering together, grilled cheese sandwiches. They thought they were going to bond. And then Kevin Owens calls Austin Theory a creep for going through his equipment to wear his shorts. All of a sudden, LA Knight interrupts this segment to a massive pop. LA Knight had the crowd in his palms. Chicago is a hotbed wrestling city. Austin used to love the pops he got in Chicago. This is where the Bret Austin match happened at WrestleMania 13, for the record. He says it's his favorite city to wrestle in, Austin did. And it's a smart city, and the crowd is yaying everything Knight says. They wanted to make sure when they paid their tickets, this could be the first time people have been seeing LA Knight tonight. Maybe it's the first time they came out since the pandemic, or the first time LA Knight's been there. That's why Austin got some of his biggest pops in 1997, 1998, because it was some of the fans' first chance to see the person. So they wanted to make sure that LA Knight knows that what he's doing is working, and the crowd loved him for it. And the crowd is yelling everything Knight says. It doesn't matter how good what he's even saying. They're just saying yeah to everything he says in his promo. He says them losing to him is a fact of life. LA Knight and Owens decide to punch them first as the two tandems argue over who's going to do that to who first. Owens asks if Knight wants them to punch the first, and he says, yeah, and the two destroy the set of the Grayson Waller show. We come back and we get a tag team match. LA Knight has the crowd in his hands again, just with a standing armbar. On Grayson Waller, and they're chanting his name big time. LA Knight. Outside the ring, you guys know what LA Knight's name is. Yeah. LA Knight has the crowd in his palm of his hands even during this match. They're yelling everything. He's bashing Austin Theory's head into the announce table. Yeah, 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 each time for repeated yeahs. Then Austin Theory and Grayson Waller got on the offense. And we go to another break. As we come back from the commercial break, the A-Town Down Under regain control, and Cole says the 16,000 is strong in the audience tonight. Owens gets a hot tag in both Waller and Theory with a ton of fists to the face. Owens with a double clothesline, then a super kick to the jaw on the outside to Theory. Then Kevin Owens hits a cannonball senton off the apron, and then inside the ring hits a swanton bomb, but Grayson kicks out. Waller and Theory beat down on Owens as the ref is frustrated with Knight on the outside as they double team him behind the official. Waller with an elbow off the top. Waller clobbers Owens and goes back to a chinlock. Austin Theory with a rolling blockbuster drops Owens as he got great height, and now Theory drops left hands on top of Owens. Fans chant "You suck," and Graves hilariously says the crowd shouldn't chant that at Owens, as if the chant was to Kevin Owens. Theory in trouble. Corey Graves is just being his usual dick commentator self, trying to show his Bobby Heenan, Jesse Ventura-ism, which I'm not going to complain about. We need that on commentary today. Theory's in trouble as LA Knight gets the hot tag and all kinds of offense to Theory and Waller, an inverted power slam and stomps in the corner, then a facebuster to Theory. Both of them in the corner getting the stomps. Knight then he hits the Theory with a power slam as the fans get loud. LA Knight hits a elbow drop, and then Waller breaks up the pin. Theory looks for A-Town down, but it gets a stunner, and then a BFT to the job to put away the competition at about a dozen minutes of TV time. I rate this match 3.5 stars, in my opinion. I grade it that this was a hell of a tag team match. One of the best in weeks from SmackDown. So that's 3.5 stars in my books. Becky Lynch gets a talking to backstage from Bianca, and Becky says Charlotte was right earlier. It might be one of the only times Charlotte is ever right. Becky repeats she's cool and won't get rattled because she's cool. She's cool, cool, cool. Then the music of Carlito comes on and says, do you know what cool is? So I'm guessing that was just coincidence, but if it wasn't a coincidence, it was a clever booking, the order of the booking. Carlito then comes to the ring. Carlito says it's his first match at a PLE event in 13 years tomorrow night, and that's cool. He says Santos said horrible things about Rey, but Carlito has a message for Santos, and he says it in Espanol. I can't speak it, so I don't know what he said, but it has something to do with Santos making a big mistake and how he's going to fight for Rey, I'm guessing. Santos comes out, and he's going to interrupt. Santos comes out with something to... he's going to interrupt, and he gets big-time heel heat. Santos replies in Spanish, talking about the LWO. He then asks why Carlito isn't representing the LWO colors. Santos says, Rey was my family, not yours. And then he calls Carlito an outsider. And if it wasn't for Carlito, nothing would be happening. Santos put all the blame on Carlito, saying Rey will never come back because of him. He then spears Escobar as the two brawl at ringside for their big match tomorrow. Officials then break it up, and Jamie Noble is one of the officials breaking it up, and then Santos with a sneak attack from the barricade to dropkick Carlito, who calls him a damn sicko. Holland and Butch of the Brawling Brutes take on Pretty Deadly next. Ridge hits a couple of suplexes out of the gate. Rich decides to leave Butch in the ring. Don't tell me it's another heel turn. Don't tell me this is another heel turn. They do this way too often lately. It lowers the significance when it happens, when they keep doing it. The commentators are even acting pedestrian to this now. Cole just calmly says, well, yeah, Butch is going to be upset because now it's 2-on-1 in the tag match. Butch then fights back in the situation, and he's in a high heel kick, almost gets him a near fall. Butch goes for a bitter end, and then Wilson rolls him up, and the roll-up of Doom puts Butch in at the TV time of 4 minutes. A 1-star match. I guess the Brutes have broken up. I hope this doesn't lead to them feuding over that because, again, it's happening way too much. So I'm not down with this finish, the roll-up, or the storyline. It should happen, or the progress, the way it's looking like it's going to. Again, how many times can they turn somebody heel? Asuka just turned heel. Drew McIntyre just turned heel. There was another Santos Escobar just turned heel. And now I'm not sure if the Brawling Brutes were heels. I don't think they were. But don't tell me he's turning heel by leaving Butch in the ring. If Triple H is the one booking everything, Triple H has got to ease off on the heel turns, the team turns. It's losing its prestige. He's got to lay off on that. Charlotte and Shotzi have a cheesy girl promo backstage, trying to bring the team closer together, the same way Bianca and Becky did earlier in the night. Girls add drama to the War Games match with drama, while the guys use their fists. Girls use their words. Sounds about right. Nick Aldis changes the match to Dragon Lee and Santos Escobar as Carlito is too banged up. Well, my prediction of Santos winning doesn't change. This also helps Carlito as he doesn't have to take the loss. Love it how Dragon Lee was just right there at the right time, right when that segment happened with Nick Aldis. Almost like intuitively knowing he was right going to say that Carlito couldn't compete. Interesting, isn't it, how it just happens that way. They run down the Survivor Series card, and I've made my predictions. So, again, I think Santos will beat Dragon Lee. For that, even though it's Carlito, not Carlito the opponent, my prediction remains the same. Escobar to get the win. Stay tuned for that video review Sunday afternoon when I go over my predictions compared to the results. We get a backstage segment with the Judgment Day. I love how Priest laughs like old school heels did when he and Randy when he said Randy won't have another comeback successfully. I love the old school laughing of heels, so Priest going was just excellent to me. Next, we get our tag team main event with the ladies. Some decent action to start. Brawling goes to the outside, so we get a big moonsault for Charlotte, dropping the competition. And, of course, that leads us to our main event tag team commercial break. Back from that, Asuka had Lynch down in the corner. I'm predicting Becky to get the pinfall tomorrow on Bayley in the War Games match. The crowd chants CM Punk during the early stages of this match. Becky and Asuka battle it out mid-ring. The face buster. Charlotte gets the hot tag after an insecurity. Charlotte with a crossbody to Bayley and Asuka. Chops galore. Charlotte with a follow-away slam to Bayley. Charlotte with a cartwheel clothesline scores the near fall. And then a big boot to the face after flipping over the corner turnbuckle. A code breaker by Asuka, and Charlotte gets a shoulder up. Asuka is shocked. Bayley drops an elbow to Charlotte and Asuka, and Bayley throws Becky out of the ring. But Charlotte fights back. Becky wants back in, and then finally does, and she drops both Bayley and Asuka. Lynch with a double DDT to Bayley and Asuka, but Bayley kicks out. Becky and Charlotte unintentionally hit each other, and then Bayley pushes them into each other again, so they make contact for the second time. Then Bayley gets the inside cradle with a win over Becky at 11 minutes. I'll give this tag team match 3 stars. This makes me feel the Damage Control may lose even more so tomorrow night. The fact that they won here. Becky and Charlotte argue in the ring as Bianca tries to settle them down before War Games. And the show ends with Lynch walking off shaking her head. That's literally how the show ended. I give the match just 3 stars, just barely. So there's no dramatic brawling inside the cage, no energy to open up the show with no pyro. I feel kind of cheated, but at the same time, they did some things well on the show. I'll give it another passing grade, just barely, a 5 out of 10 like last week. The LA Knight tag team match was tremendous with tons of high spots. Also, the Survivor Series matches got decent build on this last show to Survivor Series. They do a decent job of some things, but it makes you leaving asking for more, just like the last month has been on TV pretty much. In the end, they could be delivering us a lot more than we got, but there's some good on this show. I really hope Survivor Series pulls through because it would help elevate these lackluster Raws and SmackDowns that are just getting passing grades for me. Again, 2 weeks ago I rated SmackDown 3.5 out of 10. Last week I gave it a 5. This week I'm giving it a 5. But if they don't pull up their socks, I'm probably going to go into the 4s because there's some things on the show that just should be better. It should be ending with climatic battling. Since they're all on the show anyway, they should all be brawling, and the cage should have lowered. They should have done something like that. But instead, we just get Becky Lynch walking off and Charlotte going, well, what? I mean, it's not a turn, so that kind of ending leaves a lot to be desired. Anyways, it was a decent SmackDown overall. Be sure to make sure you come here for my Survivor Series review about 1 hour after the pay-per-view, the PLE. Right after the PLE ends, I'll be doing my Survivor Series review, so don't miss that. This has been a SmackDown review for November the 24th, 2023 from Chi-Town. I'm Brett Mix. Hit likes and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm out. Thanks for everyone for watching the review.